You all know what time it is. I'm with heavyweight guru, in fact, boxing guru, Uncle James Bashir is back in the house. We've got lots to talk about right here on BWTM Sports. Don't go anywhere. Okay, we go straight over to Uncle Bashir. Hold on, let's get this up. Right, we're good in the house. Uncle Bashir, how are we doing?
Everything's good.
What's been going on, Uncle? What's been going on?
Hey, you know, life goes on and boxing goes on. I've been working closely with IGOR, PLEVETKO, and Eddie Chambers.
Okay. How's that working out with Eddie Chambers still?
It's working out fine. Him and IGOR, PLEVETKO is putting in good work. They're going to have a small boxing show on the 15th of this month. You know, just something to get them, just get the rust off of both guys, because both of them, IGOR hasn't fought in a year, and as you know, Eddie hasn't fought in 6 years. So, you know, we just want to get some action where you can just get the rust off. And now it's going to take 3 or 4 fights for both of them to get back into the fray of things.
What's going on? Oh, good. So, Uncle, talk to us about Joseph Parker and Joyce. The British George Foreman, I called him. Your thoughts?
Yeah. He is much like a George Foreman, because he takes a good punch and he keeps coming forward and he crowds people, and he's a heavy-handed guy.
It's a good assessment of him, then, Uncle?
He's the guy in the driver's seat right now, I would think. In the heavyweight division, I think that Joyce is in a unique position to take over the division. In my opinion.
How does he do against an Usyk now? Because I always thought that he could. This Joe Joyce could.
I'll tell you, the Joe Joyce that was fighting Joseph Parker is going to be a difficult guy to beat by anyone, including Usyk. I mean, my thing is, you can box, slip, and slide, but man, the guy is putting an enormous amount of pressure on whoever it is that he's in the ring with. You know, he doesn't relent. He doesn't relent.
Go ahead, Uncle.
He doesn't relent. You know, he keeps going forward, and he takes a good punch, and you know, that's the biggest thing, that he takes a good punch, and he doesn't relent. He just keeps the pressure up, and that's a difficult guy for anyone to fight, including Usyk, even Tyson Fury. I don't care who it is. That guy, that pressure, as they say, pressure busts pipes. And you putting that kind of pressure on anybody, it's a tough boxing match. I think that Joe Joyce moved himself into the #1 spot, you know, for the championship of the world. I'm thinking that he's a pretty rough heavyweight boxer.
I've been saying this guy's been a danger for a while, a real dangerous man, very dangerous.
Yeah, he's very dangerous. I have to agree with you. He's very dangerous.
I saw him up close and personal when he fought Stavern. I was right there ringside, and I saw Stavern hit him cleanly on the chin. He walked straight through and said, right, he's walking straight through Stavern like this. He's literally walking straight through him and landing bombs. He's just not caring. And I mean, this guy, and the amount of punches he was throwing at the work rate he's working, I thought, you know what? Then I saw him say, all right, let's see how he does against Brian Jennings. And although
when you look at the punches that Ron Lau landed on George Foreman, and man, he got up twice. He got up twice, and he kept fighting. And that's something to marvel, you know.
Yeah.
When you can take a punch and you can keep your wits about you, and you can keep persevering and going forward, and ultimately take out your opponent. That's big news for me.
Your former fighter, Alexander Usyk, how does he fare against today's Joe Joyce? Not the Joe Joyce that fought in the amateurs, because everyone keeps telling me about,
I
Usyk
really, you know,
rounds.
I really don't know. But the Joe Joyce that I saw fight Joseph Parker would be formidable to go against Alexander Usyk. Very formidable. Because I just don't see what Usyk has to keep him off. I don't see what Usyk has to keep Joe Joyce off of him. And if you can't keep him, Joe Joyce off you, then end comes soon, man, as the Jamaicans would say.
Jesus.
Powerful puncher. Powerful puncher with both hands. He's methodical. His concentration is incomparable. You know, he's a really good fighter. He's sitting in an ideal place in the heavyweight division right now.
Joshua said he stopped him in the amateurs. He said you could knock him out in the first round again.
Well, you know, like I said, styles makes fights. Styles make fights, and I would like to see a fight between Joe Joyce and Anthony Joshua. I would like to see that fight because Joshua is a heavy-handed guy. He's a heavy-handed guy himself. I don't know about his ability to take the punishment that Joe Joyce takes. He takes a lot of punishment, and by the way, that's not going to keep up. One time Joe Joyce goes in the ring, that's going to end. He's not going to keep taking those punches like that. I've seen this before in boxing, and you could take punches, and then suddenly you can't take punches. The resilience just goes away.
Wow.
Yeah, I'm telling you. I worked a lot of years with the former light heavyweight champion, Matthew Saad Muhammad. And Matt took a punch as good as anybody could take a punch. Man, this guy took incredible amount of punishment, and he wouldn't relent. He wouldn't stop coming. And then suddenly, like turning the light switch on and off, he couldn't take the punches no more.
Wow.
I mean, you can hit the guy with a feather and you knock him down, you know? So what people got to remember when they're watching boxing is that the human anatomy was not designed to take trauma.
Yeah.
You know, it's designed when you can endure a certain amount of trauma, but repeated trauma, the body is going to yield. It's going to give in.
Yeah, absolutely.
So Anthony Joshua boxing Joe Joyce, you know, I wouldn't go into a fight basing my efforts on what we did in the amateurs, and I'm sure that Anthony wouldn't do that there, and Joe Joyce definitely would do it.
DILLIAN White is talking about fighting Joe Joyce. I would advise him to keep away from Joe Joyce, but he's got Buddy McGirt now as his new trainer. Your thoughts on that?
Well, DILLIAN White has had more trainers than you know. He's had more trainers than Van Camp has pork and beans. You know, I don't think that it's the trainers. I just think that DILLIAN doesn't give the trainers a chance to launch their ideas with him. You have to stay with a trainer long enough to see what the trainer is about, to launch the ideas. I don't think that Buddy McGirt is going to come in and win DILLIAN White's life.
Can be, it's okay. Can you hear me? Can't hear you. Can't hear you. Can't hear you. I can hear you now. Hello? Hello? No. Uncle Bashir has gone for them. We're just waiting for him to come back into the house. I think he'll be back in a moment. I hope you're enjoying the show so far on BWTM Sports. Please, while you're in the room, please do smash the like button. Smashing the like button does let YouTube know this is a video to watch. Do hit the subscribe button and do consider becoming a member of BWTM Sports. Really do appreciate the membership. Uncle Bashir is back in the house.
Okay.
Yes, Uncle, go ahead.
I said that, you know, when a boxer and a trainer works together, it takes time to establish a rhythm where the two of them can go forth as a team. You look at the situation with Vladimir Klitschko and Emmanuel Stewart. Emmanuel Vladimir lost the first fight to Layman Brewster, right?
Mm-hmm.
He lost the fight miserably. And then if you notice that he came behind that with another dismal performance versus DeVarrell Williamson.
Okay. Touch of sleep.
Yeah, touch of sleep. And that was a pretty good idea to stop the fight when it was, because Vladimir had a cut, and they deemed the cut unrepairable. So they just stopped the fight, and Vladimir was ahead on the scorecards. By the way, I have to go back and look at the fight and re-examine the fight. But they stopped the fight because they was not anxious to go on with the fight. DeVarrell was giving Vladimir, you know, different problems in the fight, as Emmanuel would tell me later, that he was giving the styles wasn't
challenge.
You know,
in the favor of Vladimir.
Yeah. He just felt like now's a good time to stop it. And notice they never mentioned making that fight again. So you have to stay with a trainer long enough for the fighter and the trainer to work out their rhythm. Once they establish the rhythm, then they can basically be on the same page, you know.
Right. Of course. Okay.
So, but
okay.
Dillian White's case, he doesn't give a trainer time to do anything. I mean, he had Harold Knight there, and Harold Knight, you know, being a former boxer, being a former boxer himself, and I mean, Harold Knight was a very, very good boxer.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, a very good boxer, and he's with Lennox Lewis for years, and he trained Monty Barry also. So Harold Knight understands the logistics of working with a heavyweight boxer. He understands it. But how can he establish something when you don't have room? That's why I don't work well with other trainers. I don't like that. I think that's nonsense. I think that there should be a head trainer, and there should be an assistant if the trainer deems that he needs an assistant. You know, Emmanuel needed me because he was doing so many other things.
Yeah.
So he needed me there to carry out his instructions. He knew he could depend on me to do it, and that's why he had me there. But you know, it's important that the lead trainer has an assistant that he can depend on, not an assistant that's going to go in there and change the whole ramifications of the job. Because a lot of times, you know, you bring in the different guys. Like I told you we was in Germany.
Yes.
We was in Germany, and I told you, you know, you kept questioning me about the guy that was there supposed to be assisting me, but what did I tell you? I said, no, let him spin his wheels because he won't last long. Where's he at now? He's gone. because he was trying to spin his wheels. He was trying to outshine me, and I'm saying, how can he outshine me? And he's 35, 40 years younger than me. How could he? You know, he has no respect for what I'm doing and what the time I spent in boxing. So how could he outshine me? So what did I tell you? I said, just calm down. He's gonna spin his wheels. He's gonna spin himself right out the door. Where's he at now? You can't replace wisdom. You can't replace application. When you got wisdom and application, you working them together. That's what makes you profound in the sport. That makes you profound in anything that you're doing. In life, that makes you profound. I always look back at yesteryear, and I come back and confront myself and say, "Oh man, if I knew then what I know now,
woo!
Oh, how I would have lived my life differently. Oh,
Absolutely.
how I would have made turn." You know what I'm saying? But 2020 hindsight is always.
It truly is.
It depends on 2020 hindsight.
Good afternoon, Denise Wards. Miss you so much. Facebook still got me in jail, so don't take it personally. Facebook have got me in jail, and no matter what I tried to set up other accounts, it just will not have it. So it looks like I've got to move to England or something before I have a Facebook account. But for now, I'm in Facebook jail. So much love to you and miss you loads.
Yeah, man, I've been on Facebook jail too. Anything I say, I go to Facebook jail. 60 days, 30 days, so I don't say, I say very little, because I got to have my audience,
I heard that.
I got to
I'm missing
communicate
my Facebook.
Audience.
I'm missing my Facebook. Anyway,
but I could be in jail at any time, because I'll tell you, Facebook be on me.
Yeah, all the time. Can imagine.
As soon as I say something, they say, hey, you're out. 30 days. You can't say that. You can't do that. You can't do.
Denise says, "Get out soon." I will. I think I'm out in October. I don't know when yet. He's back. Yeah, I don't know when, but I'll be back at some point. So let's talk. Joseph Parker. Again, hindsight is a wonderful thing. Do you think he came in too heavy against Joe Joyce? Do you think they missed?
I don't think. Like I said, styles make fights. I don't think Joe was able to get some punches in, some clean punches in, but it didn't seem to affect Joyce. It didn't seem to affect him. I don't think it was heavy or light or this or that. This guy's a big, strong guy. That's all. He's a big, strong guy.
I wasn't impressed with Ishmael Dallas, but I've got to say, and I've got to give the man his dues. When Joyce, for the most part, he kind of was blocking the right hand. If you notice, he was doing this time to block the right hand coming in. He still got it with flush right hands, but he was sort of trying to block the right hands with Joe by kind of like a half or forearm cross-arm defense, half a cross-arm defense to stop the right hand coming through. That was what Salas kind of set up for Joe, instead of him just walking forward and getting hit with big right hands. So there was some effort to just defense. Your thoughts on that?
I mean, he did what he had to do. He tried to caution him against the punch, but it didn't seem to affect Joe Joyce. Joe Joyce said after a while he went back doing the same thing. He's just walking in,
Tyson Fury said that Joe Joyce.
Joe Joyce could be outboxed, but the energy, the amount of energy that it would require to outbox him would be devastating, to say the least. You'd have to really, really, really be prepared to put out a lot of energy to outbox him.
I tell you who would beat style to beat Joyce is the way Holyfield beat Foreman in combinations out to the sides. Don't stand right in front of him. Bam, 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 come out.
Yeah,
bam, 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 come out.
When you making that comparison, remember George Foreman was an old guy then. That wasn't a young George Foreman.
Yeah. But I
That
think
wasn't a young George Foreman.
But wasn't older George Foreman a better fighter than younger George Foreman because he had wisdom?
Yeah. I think George was better when he came back. But having said that, the young George Foreman was a wrecking crew. He I don't care what kind of boxing you did, he was gonna get you. Jimmy Young got him at a good time. Jimmy Young got him after Muhammad Ali, and he still wasn't quite back after the Muhammad Ali fight. So Jimmy Young got him at the right time. But I Joe Joyce is awesome. But he's gonna have to, someone's gonna have to deal with him.
Deontay Wilder. I said he should swerve a Wilder fight. Wilder's got that one punch knockout power plus the speed to go with it. I see what Joyce going on.
I would love to see Deontay Wilder versus Joe Joyce. That's a puncher's affair. That's a puncher's affair. All of those guys,
Shannon Briggs, Joe Joyce.
Shannon would beat him. Because Shannon is as big as Joe Joyce, and Shannon is a better boxer, and Shannon is very physically strong himself. So, I mean, Shannon would clip him. I don't think Joe gonna take Shannon punches.
Lennox Lewis, Joe Joyce.
Lennox knocks Joe Joyce out.
Wow, that's a big thing. He couldn't knock out Holyfield. He couldn't knock out Zarko.
Yeah, because those were little guys zipping around the ring like little flies. But Joe Joyce is bigger, he's slower, and he's more of a target. Lennox would knock him out. You see what Lennox does with the big guys? He handles the big guys easier. Those small little guys running around the ring like little ants or something. You can't get to them.
Okay, Joe Joyce versus Tyson Fury.
Good fight. But I think Joe Joyce get him.
Wow.
I think he get Tyson Fury.
Big Baby Miller. Joe Joyce.
Joe Joyce knocks him out. Okay. Joe Joyce knocks Big Baby Miller out. And Big Baby Anderson. And Big Baby Anderson too.
Big Baby Anderson too. All the big babies get knocked out.
Yeah.
Wow.
I'm not thinking about taking SIRENKO anywhere near Joe Joyce. Not at this time.
No chance.
No. It doesn't make sense to me to fight him at this time.
Swerve that one like a plague, as Froch once said.
Huh?
Swerve him like a plague. That's what Froch said about GGG.
I mean, SIRENKO boxed Joe Joyce, I think 14, 15 rounds up in Vegas a few years back, and they was going at it, But I felt that Joe's strength. Vlad was a young pup then,
Yeah.
And I felt that his strength was overpowering Vlad at the end when we finally finished the sparring.
I'm going to throw two strange names at you. First one is Oliver McCall versus Joe Joyce.
It's a good fight because Oliver McCall can take a punch and he can give a punch.
Exactly.
That's a good fight. That's a really, really good fight. You gotta get Oliver McCall on a good day though.
Up to Oliver McCall on something.
Yeah, you don't know what Oliver McCall you're gonna get. You don't want to get Oliver McCall.
One more guy, and I bring him out because I think he was an underrated heavyweight and not dedicated enough. Corey Sanders, the South African.
Woo! I like Corey Sanders in that fight.
Versus Joe Joyce.
Yeah, I like
That's
Corey Sanders in that fight.
I love Corey Sanders that fight too. I love that guy, man. I love that guy so much.
Because Corey Sanders could take a punch, and man, he could kick. He can punch.
Give up punch. Let me give you
And,
one more.
you got to give Hassan Rahman a lot of respect and a lot of credit, because Hassan Rahman and Corey Sanders had a war.
They did. Absolute.
And Rahman did not waver. He was in that fight.
Let me give you one more. Peak Vitaly Klitschko versus Joyce.
Vitaly.
Really? Wow.
Yeah, Vitaly, because Vitaly knew how to box, and he could punch,
and he could take a shot,
So yeah, it was too much working against Joe.
But then Lewis was able to bust the Klitschko on the inside.
Huh?
Lewis was able to bust Klitschko on the inside.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right.
Too.
Let's talk. Next weekend, it's Mr. 60% versus Mr. Smashing It. Chris Eubank Jr. versus Conor BENN. Have you been watching the build up to this fight?
No, this fight, it just doesn't attract me, you know? It just doesn't attract me. You got one big guy fighting another guy that's blowed up, you know? They're not in the same weight classes. That's what's going to make the difference in that fight.
You think so?
Yeah, I think it's going to make the difference.
Even the fact that Eubank's going to be trained or brought down to 157.
Yeah, but you know, it's not the same day weigh-in. If it was the same day weigh-in, I could say yeah. You know, that's going to have an effect on him. But it's not the same day weigh-in. It's going to weigh in, and then he's got a whole night.
He can't rehydrate to certain. Can't rehydrate only to a certain point. You can rehydrate to. On the night.
You mean until he comes in the ring? You mean he can only rehydrate until he comes inside the ring?
Yeah, it can only be a certain weight when he gets inside the ring.
What, 10 pounds?
I don't know. It's 157. The fight is, I think.
He got to come in at 157.
I believe so.
Yeah. And in the night that he come in the ring, he'll be 168, 170.
No, we can't do that. You cannot do that. He's got to remain under the middleweight division, I believe.
He's got to remain under the middleweight division.
I believe so. See, he can't rehydrate
if he remains under the middleweight division, the longer the fight goes, the more it's going to fall into Benn's favor. But if he goes out there, put the pressure on early and try to get Ben out of there, then it's most likely Eubank is going to win the fight.
Okay, but who you going with? Who you going with?
Strangely, I'm going to go with Ben.
You going with Ben?
Yeah, I'm going to go with Ben.
How's Ben going to win the fight?
If he can't come in high in the middleweight division, it's going to affect. And who's going to monitor that? Where's somebody going to have a scale right there at the locker room saying that, okay, he can go because he's only a 159?
Don't know.
Who's going to monitor that? Who's going to make sure that he doesn't make more than 160? If we keep him at 157, 158, 159, Eubank could have problems. But I think that if he comes in there at 168, 170, he's not going to have a problem.
Okay. All right, Uncle. What did you make of Golovkin versus Canelo?
I think it was a miserable fight. I think that Triple G is gone. I think that the time and all of the money that this man has amassed, and Canelo didn't do that much. He didn't do that much more to convince people that he's a star. or that he can go back and beat the light heavyweight. He didn't do anything to enhance his credibility. So I don't see it, you know. But Triple G needs to go ahead and retire now. He's tired. He doesn't want to do it no more. It looked like they just got out of bed to pick up a paycheck.
Yeah.
And then they went right back to watching Netflix and being in bed.
Terrible fight. Terrible.
Yeah, we picked up a cool $13 million apiece. Let's go back to turn out the lights. I'm watching Netflix. That was it, you know. The fight was. I went to sleep on the fight. I went to sleep on the fight 8th or 9th round. I went to sleep. I was knocked out.
What did you
I
make
woke up
of
and the television was watching me.
What did you make of Jonathan Banks in the corner in terms of his? I don't know. He's trying to get. Come on, G. You know, let's get him now, G. Come on, G. We're working in the gym, G. Let's go, G. Come on, G. It seemed very lethargic, you know. Banks seemed lethargic and GGG seemed disinterested. So I didn't know who was more lethargic, whether it was GGG or the trainer. I couldn't tell which one it was. I know GGG was like, get up and say, you know what, I've had enough of this and walk out the arena. Or Banks actually going to turn and say to him, you know what, forget you. I'm getting paid and, you know, whatever. Sort yourself out. I didn't know which one was going to jack it in first between the two of them. Your thoughts?
Hey, the jury is out on that one, you know. I think that Banks did as much as he could for G. I think he did as much as he possibly could. You know, I don't think that I would have had another approach, like a cattle prod or something to stick up his butt and say, hey,
That's
man,
what
get to...
I said this post fight. I said if you being the trainer, you would have said something quite harsh to GGG in the corner. And I did compare that situation with GGG and Canelo to similarly to Tyson Fury fought Klitschko. I saw the parallels there, where Klitschko just there was no energy in the corner to get Klitschko. Look, your fight slipped away.
Not only that, there's Brian Jennings fight. The Brian Jennings fight.
I brought that example up as well, the Pat Jennings fight as well. He said, you know, all you need to do is box him. I'm like, wait, you're the heavyweight champion of the world fighting an inexperienced fighter. Take the fight.
And then the fight after that, Ortiz comes in and blows him out. And I'm pointing out, this is what you should and could have done.
Yeah.
Sometimes you're not going to look good. Sometimes my thinking is that you gotta roll the dice to take the fight over. If you got a give and take parlay, back and forth, somebody got to go out front and take over the fight. So that's when you roll the dice. Say, look, and you train for that. That's in the training camp. You're training for that too. You're saying, look, this is crunch time. We're in the last 3 rounds. You got to take this fight over. All right. You're rolling the dice. You don't know what's going to happen.
Yeah, you're right.
You don't know, but you got to roll. But you know one thing is that you have to go. You have to go out there and roll the dice. I always make that clear to the boxers that I'm training, that at some point, when I think the fight is too close to get a decision, and you don't want no decision, no trainer of any quality wants a decision. You don't want that. You want to get the KO. You want to go out there to get the KO. The last 3 rounds, if you see there's a close battle going back and forth. This guy take a round, that guy take 2 rounds. You come back and take a round. You don't want that. You want to go out there the last 3 rounds. And you're training for this all the time. You want to go out there the last 3 rounds and take charge.
Okay.
And establish the fact that I am winning these rounds. You want the KO.
All right. Whose responsibility is it? Would that have been Banks' responsibility or fighter's responsibility? If a fight is slipping away, is it for the fighter to motivate itself, or is it for the trainer to motivate the fighter to let him realize you're losing the fight? Or is it a bit of both?
Say that again, please.
Is it the responsibility of the trainer or the fighter or both to be motivated when a fight is slipping away?
I think there's a responsibility of both guys, you know.
Okay.
I think in a lot of cases, and not just in the situation with Banks and Triple G, but I think in a lot of cases in boxing, you've got coaches or trainers or whatever they want to call themselves that are out there and they're winging it. They're out there, they're guessing. They're out there and they're not capable. So what they do is they screw a fight up in the name of getting education.
Yeah.
All right. Well, that's like I got that experience now. But in the name of getting that experience, you might have messed up a fight. You might have blew a fight.
Yeah.
You could have and should have done something different, but you didn't do it at that time. So that's how you acquire the information.
Yes.
What I did as a young trainer, I got under other old guys, you know. And you know the guys I've been around, you know, and I worked under those guys, and I never said nothing. I never said nothing. I just took note in my mind. I hear him say something, I see him do something, and then I would calculate what they said or what they did, and I would weigh it up and say, that's a good idea, that's a good concept, and I would lock it into my mental bank, and I'd move on it from there. That's how I learned to be a boxing trainer.
Yeah.
You know, I took the I got static or something. I took those notes and I combined it into one ball, and now I can go forth as a trainer because those notes are in my mind. They'll be in my mind until I'm dead. You know, and I thought that this could help me go forth. That could help me go forth. But you get a lot of wise guys, you know, wise young guys who know, and in my opinion, people always make the analysis, you know, everybody is not fit to be a pro boxer. Everybody is not fit to be a professional singer. Everybody is not fit to be a professional comedian. My thinking is that God dictates who and what we become in life. All right?
Mm-hmm.
Being a good boxer does not make a good trainer. And being a good trainer does not make a good boxer. You're born to do what you do. You got to have a passion for it. You can't just come out there and fill the spot in because you're making some money. Well, you know, just go out there and, you know, use your jab. How can a trainer go wrong by telling a guy to use his jab? Just think about that. How can a trainer go wrong by telling another boxer, say, use your jab? You can't go wrong, even though the jab may not be applicable at that time. Mm-hmm. If you're doubling, if you're jabbing and the guy's counterpunching you with a right hand
on top,
a counterpunching you over your head. Every time you jab, you get hit with a counter right hand, left hook. That's a time to tell him, say, no. Stop using the jab. Don't use it. He's counterpunching you. They said, well, why would you tell him not to use it? I tell him, fake the jab and then jab.
Yeah. Put him in his position, then you counter what he's doing.
You've got to understand the logistics of boxing.
Yes.
And then you can go forth with your plan. Like I was just telling the young man on your other show that, you know, you can make a plan. Yeah, everybody make a plan. You know what I'm saying? You can make a plan, but like Mike Tyson said, until you get punched in your mouth. Mm-hmm. Once you get punched in your mouth, once you get knocked on that floor, you understand? Everything changes. There's a bunch of little men in your brain running around, battle station. This is SOS. This is what's going on in your brain.
Yes.
Now, people on the outside of the ring, is saying, yeah, you know, do this, do that, do this, do that, do this, but your brain is trying to clear the fog and say, damn, you know, where am I? You know, you got now. First of all, you say, oh, I'm down, and you look and you say, oh man, I'm down. Then you get up. All of that stuff that's going on in that corner, shoot the jab, hook off the jab, throw your right hand, throw your right. You got to put all that together.
And you got a guy charging at you to take you out.
And you got a guy that know that you're hurt and he's trying to get you out of there. So being a trainer does not necessarily mean that you were a good boxer or capable of being a good boxer. And being a good boxer does not make that you're going to be a good trainer. You know, well, he's a trainer because he did so many rounds in the amateurs, or he did so many. Give me a break with that stuff. You look at a guy like Jeff Finnick. Let's get down to the logistics of this here. You look at a guy like Jeff Finnick. Jeff Finnick turned amateur boxer, I think 17 or 18 years old. Dibbled and dabbled around the amateur boxing scene for a couple of years. Maybe he had 18 fights, 20 fights. And then by the time he's 21, he's the world champion. So what about his amateur career? You know what I'm saying? You take a guy like Maurice Harris. He go a guy that got no amateur pedigree at all. And he comes in the heavyweight division, and I take the guy all the way to the #1 contender in the world. He was the #1 contender twice. People talk about Don King. Don King is this. Don King is that. Don King is this. Don King. If it had not been for Don King, Harris would have never had the opportunity to be the #1 contender.
Mm-hmm.
Harris would have never been in a position to become the #1 contender.
Mm-hmm.
Harris was somewhere around number 25 or something. And Don King was trying to put him in a fight to justify him coming into the rankings. I think it was the WBC or the WBA or the IBF, one of those rankings. You know, you got the organization, so I don't know. And Don King was trying to find a justification to put Harris into those rankings. And Harris came from the number 25 spot all the way down to the number 3 spot before Chris Bird said, I'll fight him. Isn't that something? He came from number 25 all the way down to number 3.
Mm-hmm.
Chris Bird raised his hand and said, whoa, I'll fight him. And Chris Bird's wife, who's on my Facebook page, who
Tracy.
Tracy, she'll hear this interview. Tracy Bird told me that she's never seen her husband that nervous for any fight as when he fought Maurice Harris. That's what Tracy told me. The wife told me, said, I've never seen my husband, and he got so nervous that he had diarrhea. You know what I'm saying?
Wow.
He had diarrhea. And in fact, they postponed the first meeting. It was on the undercard of Tito Trinidad versus William Joppy, Madison Square Garden. That's what Don King made the deal with us. Don King made a deal with us. So he has some slick stuff about him. Don pissed me off a couple of times. He pissed me off. But he was just in delivering. He did what he said he was going to do. I'll get you to the #1 spot. You got to do your part, and I'll do my part. You know? But he was doing some shady stuff during the meeting when we was trying to make the contract. He says, "Oh, I'll give you 43% if nobody sees you on the pay-per-view card. I'll give you 43%. And if somebody does see you, then I'll give you 91%. And Harris jumped up and grabbed an ink pen and got ready to sign the contract. So wait a minute, man. Just calm down for a minute. Just let me just say this. I said to Don, I said, I was thinking that we can get 50% if nobody sees us, and that we can get 100% if somebody does see us. And Don hit the ceiling, man. He went berserk. Like I had never seen him before. I had been around him a number of times, but man, he hit the ceiling. He said, I'm a rich nigga, and I'm trying to make you a rich nigga. What do you think you do? With the cigar in his mouth, and I'm a rich nigga, and I'm trying to make you a rich nigga, but you too goddamn dumb to understand what I'm trying to do, you nigga.
Wow.
Yeah, man, this guy blitzed on me for about 5 minutes. And he had a white lady there in the room. She was the stenographer. And he had these two huge bodyguards, white dude and a black dude. They were huge, man. It looked like they were about 6'15", what is it, 6'9". They was huge.
They were giants, put it this way.
Yeah, and I was so mad with him. I was looking at him. I said, man, I come across. We was in his bedroom. We was in a bedroom in his suite, sitting on Don King's bed. He had a smoking jacket on. You know, hair was all cropped up, and you know, he just laid back in his suite. You know, and we were just sitting on his bed. You know, Maurice was in one part of it, and I was on another part, and you know, I was just sitting on his bed, and he went berserk. And then at the end of it, he turned and said, he told the white stenographer, he said, hey, he said, strike that out. He said, just a couple of brothers having a powwow over the smoking section. He said, sit down. He said, because I love these men. I love them, and I'm gonna help them become millionaires. You know, brother, you know how Don King is, huh? He said, I'm gonna help these guys become. He said, so just strike that from the record. He said, because he said, I love these guys because it's just a couple of brothers having a powwow, you know, and sometimes with a powwow, the tempers plan, you know what I'm saying? So I said, hey, Don, I'm trying to do business the way you do business. You know, I'm trying to be like you. He said, I know what you're doing. You're trying to stroke me. I said, no, I'm not trying to stroke you. He said, you're trying to stroke me. And I understand what you're doing. He said, just tell me how good I am, you know? I said, hey, man, you're the best that ever did it, from the root to the tooth. He said, that's right. He said, give me that mark over. He said, keep on talking. And I kept saying, yeah, you're the best that ever did it, blah, 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 blah. I was tap dancing, trying to get the contract. And Don said, look, here, he said, ink out everything that you want out of the contract. And I inked it out, all the things, and then I showed Maurice in the contract. At the bottom of the contract, it says, in signing this contract, you sign over 5% of my managerial contract. In signing this contract, you surrender 5% of the contract to Carl King. And I pointed out to Maurice, I said, you see what you get ready to sign? You getting ready to sign 5% of my contract to somebody else that ain't did no work. And I've been with you all your life.
Damn.
You know, that's right. That's what would have happened if he would have signed that contract. And how long was I going to last versus Don King and Carl King?
No chance. Gone.
Not a chance. I'd have been out of here in a couple of weeks. I'd have been gone. Then it came in and gave him $20,000, $25,000, a small sum to get rid of here. You know, yeah, get lost. So Don King wasn't all bad, you know. You just got to know what you're doing when you go in there to negotiate with him. You know, you got to know what you're doing.
So Daniel Dubois wasn't getting paid according to Frank Warren.
Well, he got paid. He got paid. I saw with Don King finally pays Daniel Dubois. So Dubois got the money. He got paid.
What was all the hoo-ha about then?
Huh?
What was all the hoo-ha about then?
Well, because Don was taking his damn time paying him. I can understand when the fight's over, you want to get paid. When the fight's over, you want to get paid. Don took 5, 6, 7, 8 weeks. So where's my money? Where's my $3 million? You know, where's my $3 million? And then Don came back and gave us another opportunity. Maurice lost that fight to Bird because he would not listen. He would not listen. We were scheduled to fight him at one time, and then I think the World Trade Center got blown up.
Oh no.
And that postponed everything.
Right.
And then Bird said that he had the flu or something. That postponed it again. Then Maurice left the training camp. We was in California, and then he said, "Oh, I got to go back to New Jersey." I said, "Man, don't go back. Don't. This is a ploy. Chris is playing tricks." And later on, Chris would admit it. I knew it. And he came back here to Jersey, and running around doing this, and then tried to come back to California, get in shape in 2 weeks, and he just couldn't do it. And then 8th, 9th, Buddy McGirt came to me and said, "Look, Chris is not a big puncher, but he's an accurate puncher." He said, and the one punch that he can hurt you with is that straight left hand to the solar plexus. In the 7th, 8th round, Bird dropped Maurice with the solar plexus shots. The left hand straight to the solar plexus, dropped him on the floor. And that took all of the fight out of him. When he got up from that knockdown, Maurice started asking questions in the corner like, "What round is it?" When a fighter asks what round is it, that's the first sign of saying, "I'm ready to go in the tank." I said, No. You're all right. You're all right there. Give me some water. Take this water. Come on. You got this here round, that many more rounds to go. And he barely, if you go look at the fight on YouTube now, he barely made it to that 12th round. Those last 20 seconds, he was holding on for dear life. And when I say holding on, he was just falling, and he was just dead tired.
Wow.
But Don King did what he said he was gonna do. He got us a shot, and then he came back and he got us another shot on the undercard in Las Vegas for Roy Jones versus John Ruiz for the heavyweight championship. We was on the undercard. We was again on pay-per-view. We was again the semi-main event against Professor Kendall, and he blew that fight. So, you know, Don King, he did some bad things, but he did some good things. And then when Don gave me the check said $67,300 something. And I said, wait a minute, Don, we got a deal for $100,000. And Don King turned around and walked back to me with that damn cigar. He said, "Let me tell you something." He said, "You love that motherfucker. You understand? You love him." He said, "I don't give a shit about him." He said, "You know what I give a shit about? I give a shit about winning." He said, how can I help a raggedy nigga like that there if I ain't with the winner?" He said, "You look at the money I gave you." He said, "Go look at your contract and you'll see why you got that $67,000, not no $100,000." And then the clause was in the contract. I looked all the fine print up and said that when you if you lose 3 consecutive fights with Don King Productions, I said 100 words, and the bottom of those words said, "If you lose this here, I got the right to reclaim this here for my labors of blah blah blah." But who was gonna go to court against Don King? I'd have spent the $67,000 in court. Don King had lawyers sitting around the office waiting for a fight. He had 6 or 7 lawyers around his office with toothpicks in their mouth, waiting for a guy like me to come along with my little bit of $100,000, trying to beat them. So I just took the money and kept my mouth shut. And I walked from the Thomas and Mack Center back to the what did we say? Caesar's Hotel. No, we stayed at the Mirage Hotel. And I walked back. I walked in the rain, man. I was so dismal. I was just angry. So it all comes back to your experiences. You know, your experiences. In fact, I was in Don King's camp when Emmanuel solidified the contract with me. He sent Jonathan Banks to Don King's training camp to get me because he knew Don was trying to offer me a deal.
Mm-hmm.
Don wanted me to stay there. Carl, King, and Don wanted me to stay there. Emmanuel said, no.
Come back.
No. We got a deal. I'm sending Jonathan Banks to pick you up, and we going to Europe. He said, no. Don't give me. I said, no, I gotta do the deal with Don. He said, no. We got a deal. Come and get me. It was Don King and Emmanuel Sewell was in a tug of war. They was in a tug of war because Don said, hey, stay here, and I can do this, I can do that, I can do this, I can do that. And it was a pretty good offer. But Emmanuel said, I can do this, and I can do that, and I can do that. And that was a good offer. I said, damn, I didn't know what to do. So I said, let me go with Emmanuel. Jonathan came and picked me up. I exited Don King's camp. That was the last time I was there.
Wow.
Yeah. That's how the story goes.
Experience matters.
So experience matters.
It does.
I learned all the pros and cons from the best in the business. Don King was one of the best that ever did it. Love him or hate him, he was one of the best that ever did it.
Yeah.
And he bought the fights. All the fighters that was under the Don King's umbrella. I don't know what the deal was. I don't know what he took from him or what they took from him. Don said that they ripped him off too.
Mm-hmm. They probably got paid more than with any other promoter would paid them as well.
They made money with Don. They made money with Don. I was living in Don King's training camp. I saw these guys. This guy was making money, and nobody wasn't complaining when they were getting that money. They was rolling up and they were Rolls Royces and Maseratis and all kinds of stuff. So I said, these guys are dragging money. Yeah, I lived in Don King's training camp. So yeah,
okay.
It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if a guy has been a boxer or a trainer. You're born to do certain things. I was born with impaired vision. How was I going to be a boxer? I was getting hit with everything but a small Mack truck. So I said, no. I can't do this here because I won't have no brains by the time I'm 25, 30 years old,
Yeah.
So, and I see a lot of ex-boxers that can't train a dog to bark, So I'm just saying you live and you learn.
Okay. Question. AJ Fury. Do you think it's too soon for AJ to go and fight Fury?
Do I think what?
It's too soon for Joshua to fight Fury.
No, I don't think it's too soon. I think with boxers, they hurt themselves when they fight somebody and they lose to somebody. Then somebody try to bring them back on the soft side. So man, we're gonna take a couple of easy fights. No. You take mediocre fights with a guy like Eddie Chambers, who hasn't been in there in 6 years.
Yeah.
Igor PLEVETKO, whose guy hasn't been in there over a year. You can't just go out there and train in the gym to box and then go into a professional fight. And you go into a professional fight, it's a whole different format.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
Boxing in the gym, you can get sharp, you can do this, you can that, you can go work on all the critical points. But when you get in that ring with those tiny gloves on, those 10-ounce gloves, with no headgears and no protection gear, it's a different ball game. One shot, and then you in Disneyland, you know.
Yeah.
So you have to be patient. You have to be patient. I think that Anthony Joshua came off a good fight, a good effort in the Usyk fight. Why should he let himself down? Why should he take a back seat? This is what the boxers of yesteryear did all the time. Kenny Norton got knocked out by George Foreman, and Kenny Norton came back and ripped off about 7 or 8 good wins. You know, 7 or 8 good wins. He kept on working. He kept right on working. He didn't step down. So who would Joshua fight? You know, what is it going to prove if he go out there and knock over a couple of bean cans? No, you got to go out there and fight. If Fury is offering a fight, go ahead and take the fight.
What do you mean? Usyk say he would fight Joshua for a third fight. How do you feel about that?
Because he got his number.
That's what I said to people.
Usyk is trying to put Joshua in a position where I can knock you out. This is what he want to do now. You know, I'll give you a third fight because I'm comfortable now. I'm comfortable now. I can beat you now.
Can Joshua beat Usyk, in your opinion, after 2 defeats to him? And in the third fight, a risk?
I don't know. I don't know psychologically if he's capable of beating him. Psychologically, I don't know if he's capable of beating him. You know, I just don't understand. Why would, you know, and when I talk to AJ, I tell him, you know, we talk. When I talk to him, when I communicate with him, I'm going to say, why would he put Robert Garcia into a position to train him for such a high-profile fight, such as the rematch versus OLEKSANDR Usyk? And this man never trained heavyweights before. He never trained heavyweights before.
But his head coach, Angel Fernandez, made the final call because him.
Why would you leave it? Why would you leave it to a guy that was a look? Angel Fernandez, Robert Garcia, right? Nice guys. No, don't mistake me. Don't mistake me. But even leaving it to Angel Fernandez, Angel is an understudy guy. He's an understudy. He's too young. He's too inexperienced to take the reins for the heavyweight championship in the world. Just too inexperienced. And I'm calling a spade a spade. He's just too inexperienced. What kind of experience do he have to lead the heavyweight championship of the world? No. And I'm asking myself, why would he take such a chance to go out there to battle OLEKSANDR Usyk in the rematch? It was a risk that didn't pay off.
And that post-fight rant, Joshua's post-fight rant, picking up the belt and throwing him out the ring and all the rest of it, people think that was a mental breakdown. What's your thoughts on it?
I don't have any thoughts. I don't know what's going through his mind. You know, I don't want to make no assessments on somebody else's behavior. You know, I thought it was a bit overboard. You know, he shouldn't have did that. He should just kept it moving. But again, I'm not Anthony Joshua, so he has his own feelings about what he did and why he did it. You know, I'm not going to try to guess on that. You know,
Usyk called him a fool.
Yeah, but for Usyk to come back and offer him a third fight, what in the world is that about? They'll say that next time I'm going to knock you out. I'm going to knock you out.
Yeah.
I'm going to put you to sleep, you know?
And he's even said he'd fight Wilder. Eddie Hearn said that Wilder couldn't land the glove on Usyk. Your thoughts?
Yeah, it would be very difficult for Wilder's style to catch up with Usyk. But let me tell you something. Wilder is a big puncher, and nobody's going to be able to take that from him. He's learned to work, and he's starting to learn how to work that left jab too. If he ever gets a harness on landing that left jab, you're going to see something. You're going to see something special. If he ever gets a harness on delivering that left jab is critical to his arsenal. If
Yes.
he ever starts controlling the pace with that left jab, everything's going to come together with that right hand.
Because it was that left jab with the right hand. He used the jab to blind Fury, and he used the right hand. That was the one that knocked him down, Fury down. The whole his body vibrated. And then he didn't use the jab after that, after knocking Fury down. I don't know why. I have no idea why.
I'm fond of him. I'm fond of him. If he learns, like I said, if he learns how to harness that left jab, he's gonna be a mother.
Would you be interested in seeing
I
a full
wanna
fight
see
between Wilder and Fury 4?
Huh? Yeah.
Would you see?
Because it's always gonna be exciting. It's always gonna be exciting. I'd be interested in seeing a full fight between them.
What have you made of Spence and Crawford's malarkey? It was meant to be November the 19th.
I don't even care about Spence. I don't even care. Crawford is 35 years old. I'm like, who cares? Who cares? He's 35. How old is Spence?
32, I think. Maybe 32, 33, maybe.
32, 33 years old. I'm like, who cares? These guys should have fought 5, 6, 7 years ago. And they still right to them. Well, Spence and Crawford, they're going to fight so-and-so, they're going to fight so-and-so, so-and-so. I'm like, who cares? That's why boxing, at least here in the United States, needs a boxing czar. Boxing needs a boxing czar. You understand? Because with a boxing czar says that, look,
you two fight.
We're gonna mandate that Spence and Crawford fight by September or October or November. And we're gonna mandate it's gonna be a fight. All that in between stuff, make the deal. I'm telling the promoter, I'm telling him, make the deal.
Okay.
I can't believe these guys have been around here all of this time. When Thomas Hearns and Ray Leonard fought, they were 25 and 23 years old.
Yeah.
These guys have been fought the first time, and they're 35 and 33 years old. For goodness sakes, what kind of nonsense is that?
What do you make of Bivol and Ramirez fighting?
It's a good fight.
Where's your money on?
Did they fight yet? Did they fight yet?
No, they're about to fight.
Let me tell you something. It was a time when I would know what fights have taken place and what fights hasn't taken place. But it takes so long for these guys, these promoters and anglers and hustlers to get those guys to fight that I lose interest in it.
Yeah, I hear that.
I lose interest in it. And they kill these guys are killing the sport because the fight that the people want to see, you can't see.
Finally, Helenius and Wilder. I'm thinking
Good
now,
fight.
Helenius is tailor-made for Wilder's right hand, but it's how much Wilder's got left.
It's a good fight. I think it's a really good fight. I think it's a really exciting fight. I think it's a good fight. I think it's a really exciting fight. I don't know that the fight is going to last, but it's a good fight.
Mm-hmm. And one more thing before I end, I was asked by Matt in my comment section, what the hell is going on with Vlad SIRENKO? Could you give us an update?
Vlad SIRENKO is on his way back as we speak right now from California.
Okay.
You know, he went there to meet with some management companies. You know, I had other engagements here. in New
Yes.
Jersey, so I didn't go with him. You know, we always travel together, but this time I couldn't go because I had engagement here that required that I be here.
Right.
But he was there meeting with management and a couple of promoters out there. He was meeting with them, and he was there. While he was there, he boxed Frank Sanchez for about 4 or 5 days.
How did he find the Sanchez experience?
You know, he said it was compelling. You know, he said that he would like to leave, look forward to doing it again. He said it was good work. It was good, solid work. He was in the Goosen gym and he's working. But as we speak, SIRENKO is due back here. In fact, I'm going to pick him up from the airport about 5:30. It's 4:16, 4:18 now. About 5:30, I'm going to pick him up from the airport. We're going to go eat dinner, and then we're going to hash out what we're going to do. But I'm going to have SIRENKO boxer Eddie Chambers, Igor PLEVETKO. You know, I'm going to have him boxing those guys to get himself into shape.
Okay. Well, when you do get, when you do get a chance, go, Uncle. You go first. You go first. You go, Uncle.
SIRENKO is my whole card. He's the guy that's going to get us over the hump. He's a really, really good professional, man. I'm blessed to be training. I'm blessed to be training 3 great professionals in Igor PLEVETKO, SIRENKO, and Fast Eddie Chambers. It's a blessing for me to be associated with these guys because they try their best to please me, you know, and that's a rare situation. Yeah, they don't question me. They trust me. You know, they trust me with their lives, you know, and I go out there and I do the best that I can,
Best
you know, to prepare to,
the best students you get, ones that will listen.
I'm telling you, you know, it's just a blessing, you know, and I'm looking forward to doing big things with the 3 of these guys.
Okay.
It's a pleasure, man. It's a pleasure to work with these guys. I mean, it's a real pleasure to work with guys that really conduct themselves like professionals. I don't have to bump heads with them to get them to do nothing, you know. And it's a very, very good relationship, you know, and that's a plus.
It would be great to get them all in the gym at the same time, maybe sit them down and do an interview with all 3 of them in the gym together.
Yeah, I'll try it. You know, I'll try it, you know.
Let's make that happen.
We're working in 2 gyms. We're working in New York.
Yeah.
And we're working in Bristol, Pennsylvania. Those are our training camps for this fight. Sometimes we do the New York, and sometimes we do this Bristol, Pennsylvania. So we're moving around, you know, and that's good for morale, you know. It's good for morale, and that's what we're doing. That's what we're counting on. So I'm looking forward to big things.
I'm looking forward to it myself. Uncle, do you have any final words before we close off?
I think that I saw a post on the internet on Facebook, and they were saying that if you could change something about modern boxing, what would you change? I would change it from 12 rounds to 15 rounds for the championship fight.
Okay.
Championship should be 15 rounds, not no 12 rounds. 12 rounds is what you put for regional titles. But when you're boxing for the world championship, there should be 15 rounds. All right? Don't tell me it's going to hurt the guys. It's not going to hurt those guys. These guys are athletes, and they're conditioned for those rounds. And I think that I would change the fact that I would introduce a boxing czar to the sport of boxing. A boxing czar, in my mind, the best boxing czar would be a guy like a Larry Hazard from the New Jersey Athletic Commission, because he's the most profound individual that's prepared to lead boxing in the States. He's a no-nonsense guy. He's an ex-boxer, ex-karate man, a current commissioner. He knows the ropes. He knows the ins and outs. So, yeah, I would have Larry Hazard be a czar. I would introduce the 15 rounds because 15 rounds keeps the boxers honest. When you got to do 15 rounds, there's no playing around. Everybody is going to be on their P's and Q's because I know I've got to put in 15 rounds. But with this 12-round thing, people got the idea, oh, I can do 12 rounds. I could, they play around with it.
Yeah.
So they play around with it because I can 12 rounds, but 15 rounds, you say, oh, wait a minute, I really got to put my nose to the grindstone to get this thing done.
Yeah.
So I would have a 15 rounds. I would bring in Commissioner Hazard as a boxing czar. Larry Hazard. I can't think of nobody in the United States more prepared to lead boxing in the czar position than Larry Hazard. I can't think of one. I can't think of nobody. So, and Commissioner Hazard is a no-nonsense guy, and he's keen, and he's smart, and he's intelligent, and he's not going to be swayed by the soothsayers saying you got to do this, you got to do. No, he's not. He's not. In other words, Larry Hazard is not a yes man. All right, he's not a yes man.
I know that.
He's going to put his foot down and say, "Look, this is the way it has to be, and this is the way it's going to be." As long as I'm the czar, that's how we're going. We need a czar because if you got a czar, you can change a lot of nonsense and the corruption. The corruption in boxing is crazy. I mean, corruption like Julio Cesar Chavez versus Bernell Whitaker. That was still Meldrick Taylor too.
Oh, sorry. The Chavez fight, was.
Taylor won that fight. Taylor won that fight. And then the association with different referees with different promoters.
Yeah.
All right, you got to break that relationship up. It has to be broken up.
Yeah.
All right. Richard Steele with Don King, Kenny Bells with the Mayweather. You got to remove the doubt that people is thinking. People is thinking that, whoa, every time Richard Steele with Don King's fight, with Mike Tyson, Razor Ruddock, Julio Cesar Chavez, with Meldrick Taylor, Whitaker. You got to watch these situations. And people in the audience are saying, why is it always got to be Steele when Don King's fight is involved? Why does it always have to be Kenny Bells have to be referee when he Mayweather's fighting? People start thinking things, and they talk about it. I'm just talking about what the people talk about.
Yeah. It's obvious though.
And people, so I would change those things. Take him out and put that person in.
Yeah.
I think that Duva distracted Meldrick Taylor. Meldrick Taylor still was counting and still asked him a question, and Meldrick Taylor was distracted by Lou Duva being on that top rope. And when he looked back, the fight was over. But all the time that the referee is counting, 2, 3, the referee is supposed to say 2, 3, and always looking over his shoulder to see where the other fighter is. And had Steele done that, he would have saw that Chavez wasn't in the neutral corner. And by him not being in the neutral corner, Steele would have to turn and say, go to the neutral corner. And by the time he did that, the fight would have been over. But they couldn't let that fight they could not let that fight be over, because if the fight was over, Meldrick Taylor would have won on the scorecards.
That's all right.
So I got it. Huh?
That's all right, because Randall Bailey got revenge. Down go Chavez! Down go Chavez! You remember that?
Yeah.
Frankie Randall. Down
Frankie
go
Randall.
Chavez!
But Chavez couldn't deal with boxers with strong constitutions. If you had a strong constitution the way that Randall had, then Chavez couldn't deal with that. He was a tough guy. Don't mistake me. Julio Cesar Chavez was a really rough, tough guy.
Mm-hmm.
But if you had a strong constitution, mental constitution, that I'm not going to go.
Yeah.
I'm not going to go. You're going to have to beat me out of here. Then he had a problem. Roberto Duran had a problem with slick boxers.
Mm-hmm.
Wilfred Benitez, what's the boy from London that beat Duran? Kirkland Lang.
Yes.
He spanked Duran. All right? He spanked Duran because Duran can't deal. That's why I say Mayweather would have beat Duran, because Mayweather got that defense movement.
Yeah.
He was he was all wrong for Duran. He was just all wrong for Roberto Duran.
Yeah.
Mayweather was all wrong for Roberto Duran. He would take Duran out to the cleaners, dry him out, hang him up on something, and put a plastic over him, send him back home. You know, Mayweather was just that kind of guy.
On the subject of Mayweather, very quickly to close, Mayweather in the exhibition bout, getting caught with a big shot and laughing about it and getting on with it, and then his bodyguard getting knocked out.
His bodyguard?
His bodyguard had a fight and got knocked out.
One of the big guys?
Yeah, the big white guy got knocked out. Mayweather was watching it backstage, and all he was doing was looking back. He just shook his head. I was preparing for his fight.
He got knocked out by another big guy?
Yeah. No, sorry. Yeah, go ahead.
It was a big guy. A big guy knocked him out?
No, it was a Japanese guy. I think somebody who's 20 pounds lighter. Yeah. So.
Well, you got to be
leave
careful,
it outside.
You know?
Yeah.
You know, I mean, Mayweather paying. I'm not mad with him. Mayweather making all the money that he can make. You know, I don't watch that I don't go watch that nonsense. I wouldn't pay 10 cents to see. But I'm not mad with him. He go ahead and make that money.
Yeah. Absolutely.
If you got people, if you got an audience that's going to pay for it, then by all means, go and make it. I wish that I was making it.
Absolutely. Uncle, thank you so much as always. And we'll definitely catch up with you very soon. Any thoughts?
That's it.
Thank you so much, Uncle. Take care as always. Much love to you. And thank you for your contribution as always. We love you.
Oh, man. I love you too, man. See you later.
Take care, Uncle.